Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video we will have a look at the CZ P10. This is the F model. The C model is already disassembled. It's about the technical details on those by now proven gun models. They are on the market for quite a while, and the Czech Republic did order 21,000 for their military service. And so that is a common pistol, and of course here in USA they sold quite many of those pistols as well. Currently there are quite some versions of that pistol on sale in USA for a rather inexpensive price for what it is, and that was the point for me to finally test out that system. And the smaller Glock size version is already disassembled here. It's a Glock 19 size version. The bigger one, the F, is basically like the Glock 17 but with a longer grip. We have a 19 round magazine where the Glock 17 has 17 rounds, so it's a little bit longer. If you have really big hands, that's the gun for you to get. So as we look at the technical features, we have a typical polymer frame pistol from back then. It doesn't have a modular chassis, so you can't take the trigger group as one piece. We have a removable back strap with this pin, nothing fancy, quite some checkering all around. The mag well is pretty good too. We have lanyard hole there, important for military use. Then we have a metal magazine button there. This is the current variation. They had on the first series a variation that was different, that you could press on both sides for release. That somehow got changed into this version here, which is just one side, and it's reversible, so if you are left-hander you can put it on the other side. Then we have a rather big trigger guard. I guess it's gonna get cold in the Czech Republic in the winter too, so they wanted to be able to shoot easy with gloves, and that is what they did. Then we have a polymer trigger with the usual trigger dingus there. This position would be the cocked position. We have a little bit serrations on front, and the trigger dingus, as the trigger is pressed, is not gonna be completely flush. It still stands a bit out. That is like that. Back then that was not in fashion, that is a flush fit like nowadays. You can get replacement triggers in different fashions, also in metal, no problem there at all if you want to change. Then we have the pick rail here, together with the squared off trigger guard with some serrations. You can easily mount the usual weapon lights or lasers if you want, easy and quick. That has no problem there. On top we have some serrations again for the trigger finger. As the trigger finger is straight, you feel it here. Then we have the typical disassembly lever Glock style. You simply press that downwards, it's spring loaded to take the gun apart. And then we come already to the slide stop, slide release. Full metal, way more sturdy made than say by a Glock model, and we have it on the other side too. By the factory it's quite a hinged design here, and as we put the magazine in it, we see how that goes upwards. This would be the locked position, so it doesn't rely on cuts on the slide to lock, so there is no way dirt or grime can go in, but the part behind here gonna lock on the front of the slide here. So that's rather unique, a different feature. Looks well made, sturdy made, no problem, and you have, if you are left-hander, you can use the left side as well. So really nice done. Then we have beaver tail, quite a good, nice beaver tail. Grip is outstanding. There is also grip tape if you want to have that. Back then it was not common to make a bit texturing on this part here of the grip. That would help. Maybe they make one day an updated version of that gun. Inside, again, we have the metal insert there for the serial number. The part here where the recoil spring locks, and here is the locking part for the barrel. Nothing fancy, with the front part metal that is pinned in. That is the trigger pin. To remove the whole parts inside, it's a bit a problem. You have to push relative hard on the pins to get them out, but it's of course possible. But if you have problems with that, it's better to look with the armor. It's not as simple, say, like a typical Glock. That is how that is. Then trigger part, the hinge, we saw here the big ejector, so pretty sturdy there too. We have the front rails and the back rails here. We see already a bit wear on it. And here we have the disconnect. The disconnect part here, and in the back we have the sear. This uses a fully cocked striker, so it's a bit a different design than by the Glock. That is only partially cocked on the striker there. This one is fully cocked, so we have a way better trigger pull in that regards as well. Better, less mushy, better to use. For whatever reason, they did go with a single spring recoil spring assembly, and they did not do a double one. That is how that is. Some are with a polymer guide rod like this one, some are a metal guide rod. I think the newer versions have a metal one, so that's something to look at. You see that in the front, if that is a polymer or metal. If you buy the gun, then the barrel is a typical affair. We have the typical lock-up part in the ejection port. Typical Browning style lock-up there. Quite a feed ramp. The barrel dimensions are on the bigger side, so it's a massive, quite sturdy barrel. There is no thin, flimsy material used on it, so really nicely done. Great rifling. Chamber, nothing fancy at all. The markings and the serial number there. Of course, you can get them threaded as well for both sizes. If you want to have a threaded barrel, no problem at all. Then to the slide, massive, nice made slide. We have forward serrations like backward there, usual. Nice cutted material, really well finished with the caliber on it and the description what it is. The finish is sure durable and all that, but I consider it a bit on the shiny side. It would be great if that would be have a factory Cerakote in a matte black over that finish. It's quite shiny, so but that's personal preference. Now on the milling is really well done. We have no problem, and or marks. We also see there is no notches. As I said, the slide in the open position rests on this part here. Unique design, really nice done. Typical extractor, spring loaded with the spring behind here. Nothing fancy there at all. Then we have a typical striker design, spring loaded with the cup in there, and then that part here with as the striker safety. Now it's on safe. This part here gets pressed over. I need to reach a bit around the camera. So as that part is pressed over now, the firing pin is in the fully forward position. As we press it back, it goes into safety again there in that part. So it's a sideways movement done by a sideways movement done by this part here, so that the safety is out of the way, and that part here, I forgot that to say, that is the disconnector, so that the gun is not shooting more than one round by each trigger pull. This is the disconnector there, it goes sideways. It's a spring-loaded part. There we see part of it as well. So it's a bit a unique design. They had to quite likely go around the Glock design. At the end we have a typical plate, a polymer plate. You get them in metal as well. Nothing fancy at all. To take that out, you simply press the polymer part down, so you can release the whole pipapo. Nothing special or fancy. Then this is the not optics ready version. So we see the rear sight is more forward in the dovetail compared to the optics ready model, which we have here. So we see the rear sight is way more behind because they needed the space for the optics ready plate there. So that's something to look at. Here we have a tall sight, suppressor height sight, and on this one we have the regular one. Same is with the front. We see the tall one compared to the regular one. Now the front sight is dovetailed in from the front, not from the side. It has a screw there to replace it. The screwdriver, the Allen wrenches are usually with the set in the box there, and it's a 3-dot sight usually. They offer different variations. You can also get them in night sights. Those are glow in the dark paint filled, something like a Super Luminova. It's pretty good for what it is. And the only negative that I have, or partially negative, is that those sights, both the front and the rear, are made out of aluminium. They are not steel, they are aluminium, which is weaker, which is more easily damaged than a steel, and also the finish, the anodizing, is brighter than or more shiny than we could have with a properly blacked out steel sight. So maybe the front sight in aluminium in that height is not that much of a problem to get damaged. Maybe on that height here in aluminium it's more of a problem to get damaged because it stands out quite a bit, and the rear is a solid design in that regards. Also the sights are rather, how should I say, compact, thin. The front sight is relative thin in the width compared to a Glock one. The slot is corresponding really tight, so not much light. It gives you more of a fine sight picture, not that much what you would expect on a combat pistol. So the sights are, for me at least, quite a problem. That is quite likely the negative part of that system, that you have to check what kind of sights you're gonna have on it. Is it the regular ones? Is it the optics ready version? And then how tall you want to have them. You want to have them in night sights. There are aftermarket sights by now as well, but Yeah, I think the front is usually as thin as the factory one, so that is for me at least a bit a negative point on that system. And the last point is with the magazines. Magazines are similar to the p07 and the p09, depending on the height. Again, the magazine bottom is different because the width of the pistols of the p10 and the p09 and p07 is different. So basically they made it clever. They made all the needed slots for the magazine locks, even the top one, and the length of the body is the same, just the bottom part is different for the different models. Great magazines, well made, and a nice red, bright red follower. Great quality, marked with the caliber and the manufacturer, so you know what the heck that is for. We have the ribs for the dirt. Really well done. Some pistols come with 2 magazines, some come with 3 magazines. You need to look at that too. Some come with tritium, night sights, etc. It's not always that clear with the different SKU what you're gonna get. You need to look there a bit to find your way. And yeah, that pretty much is it about that system. I would say it for sure works really well. It's a great system, great quality. By now, at least the newer models are top of the line. We have the steel guide rod, we have optics ready, so all good. The only thing you may need to look is for a different sight system for aftermarket sights, and some of you of course want to have a metal trigger, which is both possible, but the rest is really good, and I'm sure the Czech Republic military and whoever else uses that system is happy about it and it works. So that much about the CZ P10 technical side video.